John Kinsella was a feared and influential figure in the British underworld, known for his role as an enforcer and his connections to organised crime. His life was defined by violent crime, gangland feuds, and a ruthless reputation that ultimately led to his execution in a highly planned and targeted assassination. Welcome back to Crime Chronicles. Today we explore the life, crimes, and death of UK gangster John Kinsella. We'll look at how his execution started an investigation that would uncover criminal conspiracies that would span the northwest of England. But who was it that ordered his death? Stay tuned as we look at the story of loyalty, criminality, and the perils of a life entrenched in the world of organised crime. Born in 1964 in Everton, Liverpool, John Kinsella was raised in an environment where crime was commonplace. He developed a reputation as a tough and physically imposing figure, bolstered by his expertise in martial arts, including judo and jiu-jitsu. His combat skills and willingness to engage in violence made him a sought-after enforcer in the criminal underworld. Kinsella's criminal record dates back to the early 1990s, with his first major conviction occurring in 1991, when he was sentenced to 9 years in prison for attempted robbery and carrying a firearm with intent. This conviction set the tone for the rest of his life, as he continued to immerse himself deeper into the world of organised crime upon his release. Kinsella's influence in the criminal world grew over the years, and he became closely associated with Paul Massey, one of Salford's most notorious gangsters. Massey, known as Mr. Big, was a prominent figure in the northwest criminal scene and had built a reputation as a feared and respected crime boss. Kinsella and Massey shared a close bond, with Kinsella serving as one of his most trusted enforcers. Their connection became widely known when it was revealed that Kinsella, acting as an underworld fixer, had intervened to protect footballer Steven Gerrard when he had quote-unquote got into trouble. According to a letter presented during Kinsella's 2008 trial, Paul Gerrard, Steven's father, had sought Kinsella's help to neutralise a threat against his son. This event further cemented Kinsella's reputation as someone who could handle dangerous situations and exert influence over the criminal underworld. Kinsella's most infamous criminal activity came in 2006, when he was involved in a robbery in Grantham in Lincolnshire. Kinsella and his accomplice targeted a haulage depot, but their plan went awry, leading to a dramatic police pursuit. During his trial in 2008, Kinsella made headlines once again when he fled the courtroom during a lunch break. Despite his absence, he was convicted in absentia and sentenced to 14 years in prison. Authorities later tracked him down and arrested him in 2009, ensuring he served his sentence. Kinsella's ability to evade capture for a period of time and his audacious courtroom escape only added to his infamy. His time in prison did little to reform him, and upon his release, he resumed his associations with criminal enterprises, maintaining close ties to Massey and other notorious figures. The 2010s saw an escalation of violence between rival gangs in Salford, a feud between two factions, the A-Team, led by Stephen Britton, and a rival group including Michael Carroll and Mark Fellows, resulted in multiple violent confrontations. Massey and Kinsella were aligned with the A-Team, putting them at odds with their rivals. On July 26th of 2015, Paul Massey was assassinated outside his home in Clifton in Salford. A masked gunman, later identified as Mark Fellows, ambushed Massey with a submachine gun, firing 18 bullets, 5 of which struck and killed him. The execution-style killing shocked the community and intensified the Gangland war. Kinsella, devastated by the murder of his close associate, became a marked man, as he was one of the last major figures still standing in Massey's circle. Kinsella's fate was sealed on May the 5th of 2018. While walking with his dogs, with his pregnant partner Wendy Owen, near the St Helens Linkway in Rainall, Merseyside, he was ambushed by Mark Fellows. Fellows, known as the Iceman, for his cold and calculated approach to murder, carried out the hit with precision. He shot Kinsella twice in the back with a Webley 6-shot revolver. As Kinsella collapsed to the ground, Fellows approached him and fired 2 more bullets into the back of his head at point-blank range. The brutal execution left no doubt that this was a targeted gangland hit, designed to eliminate Kinsella once and for all. Wendy Owen, though unharmed, witnessed the killing and later testified that Fellows had been waiting for them, ensuring that there was no chance for Kinsella to escape. The police launched a thorough investigation into the murders of both Paul Massey and John Kinsella. Evidence against Mark Fellows began to mount, particularly after detectives discovered that he had used a Garmin fitness watch to track Massey's movements in the weeks leading up to his assassination. The device recorded his location in a field opposite Massey's home, confirming premeditation. During the trial, prosecutors painted Fellows as a meticulous and ruthless hitman who had carried out both executions as part of an ongoing gangland feud. His accomplice, Stephen Boyle, was accused of acting as a spotter during Kinsella's murder, ensuring the ambush was successful. On January 17th of 2019, following an 8-week trial at Liverpool Crown Court, Fellows was found guilty of both murders and sentenced to a whole life term, meaning he would never be released from prison. Boyle was also convicted of Kinsella's murder and received a life sentence with a minimum of 33 years. The executions of Paul Massey and John Kinsella highlighted the brutal nature of gangland disputes and the deadly consequences of involvement in organised crime. Kinsella's death marked the end of an era for a particular faction of the Salford underworld, as law enforcement continued to crack down on violent criminal enterprises. The trials of Fellows and Boyle exposed the intricate planning and calculated nature of gangland assassinations. Authorities have since intensified their efforts to dismantle organised crime groups, aiming to prevent further bloodshed. While Kinsella was feared and respected in the criminal world, his murder served as a stark reminder that loyalty and power in the underworld often lead to violent ends. His life, filled with crime and conflict, ended in the same ruthless manner that had defined his career as an enforcer. From his early days as a feared enforcer to his role in major gangland feuds, John Kinsella lived by the code of the underworld, one that ultimately led to his execution. His murder, along with that of Paul Massey, showcased the dangers of the criminal lifestyle and the relentless nature of gangland warfare. Thank you for joining us today on Crime Chronicles. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the channel with your friends.